Hi guys, I'm Otakufuel and today I'm going to show you how to draw Hime. So let's get started. Okay, for a reference of what Hime looks like, I'm going to use this two-sided bookmark I have. I'm going to be using a normal number 2 HB pencil. You can also use a mechanical pencil, it really doesn't matter. I'll be also needing an eraser and a ruler. The ruler is optional though, but it does help to make your drawing a little bit more even. Now I'm going to draw a circle, then use my ruler to draw a straight line underneath the circle. This will be a rough guideline of where the cheek will be. Now draw a line from the middle of the circle and go down to the guideline. I chose to put the cheek a little bit below the guideline for a more narrow face, but you can leave it at the guideline for a more childlike face. Then make a curved line to around the center of the circle. You can also use a ruler if you want, but I always just eyeball it when the head is in a 3/4 view. Then draw another line to connect the chin. And you have your head! Oh, and don't forget to draw the letter C to the side of the head for the ear. Now for the neck. I like a thin neck, and I like to place it close to the chin. Depending on how your characters pose, this can change, but I'm drawing Hime in a simple pose, so this will do nicely. Now for the torso. I'm going to start by drawing her chest, and then the waist, and then the hips. Okay, so I didn't like how it came out since her body looked squished, so I erased it and I'm redrawing the torso. Now I'm going to draw the thighs. Now to the feet. I draw the less detailed feet since it's easier. Feet and hands are in my opinion the hardest to draw. So don't be frustrated if they don't come out the way you want them to. It's okay, just some practice and you can draw lazy feet just like me. Now back to the top, let's draw the shoulders and arms. Because Hime is at a slight angle, I made the left shoulder more hidden than the right shoulder, which is longer. From the shoulder it starts big and then gets small near the elbow, and then from the elbow it starts big and gets narrow near the wrist. I decided to change the way her arm went by bending it behind her hair. For now, I'm going to leave the hands kinda simple and fix them up later in the inking stage. Ta-da! We're done with the frame of the body. Now it's time to make it look like Hime. I'm going to start with drawing her hair first. Hime's hair curves to the left, and on the right it's pulled back behind her hairband. I'm going to draw a guideline where I want the eyes to be, and it's going to be a little bit above the cheek line. I'm going to try and replicate Hime's eye style, which is tough to explain, so I'll just draw. Okay, I'll put the nose around the cheek line and the mouth a little bit below that. Now I'm going to add the lines for the hair and her headband. Her back hair parts at the same point as her front hair, so I'm going to draw at that point and make her hair curve at the end. Hime's hair length is a little bit above the shoulder length, so I'm going to try and keep it there. I fixed up the eyes a little and changed the mouth. Meant to show you guys, but I didn't know the camera stopped rolling. Now I'm just fixing up some of the lines and touching up some things. Alright, it's time to add Hime's awesome outfit. First I'll start by drawing the collar, which comes about halfway up her neck, then drawing the dividing line. I'll curve the line at the chest to add more dimension. I'm going to draw the end of the dress around the middle of the thigh, actually just a bit higher than the middle. The dress style shows the shoulder, so I'm going to cut the sleeve then shade in the black part of the dress. Don't forget to add the flame on the bottom left side of the dress. Hime's right shoe comes above her knee and the tip of the shoe is red with flames on the bottom, then shade in the shoe. The other shoe starts below the knee and the tip of the heel of the shoe is red, but the rest is white. The bookmark doesn't show it, but Hime has a little holster on her thigh for kunai since she is a ninja. So I'm going to draw that now. To draw the kunai, I always start with an elongated diamond shape and add the handle with the circle on top. We are done! Yes, we are. Well, not quite. Now it's time to ink Hime. I'll be using my handy dandy Copic multiliner. I'm going to be using the sizes 0.1mm, 0.3mm, and 1mm. 0.1mm is going to be the smallest, and 1mm is going to be the biggest size. I always start by using the 0.3mm for the body, and I always use the 0.1mm for eyes or any small details on the face. The 1mm is quite big, so I'll be using it to fill in the black for the headband, the dress, and the shoes. But I'll draw those later in after I color, so it won't smear. After I'm done inking everything, I'm going to fan my drawing so it'll dry completely and then erase the pencil lines so we can go on to coloring. If you don't fan your drawing properly, then your ink might be a little bit wet and then when you try to erase the lines, it will smear, so do be sure it's dry. We'll be using lots of colors today. You don't have to use these colors specifically, these are just kind of a guideline of what I used. First we have the Copic Colorless Blender Marker. This is great for mistakes. I'll tell you more about this in the video later. Then we have the Cool Gray No. 0. This will be used for shading the white part of Hime's dress. Next are the Skintone Colors. Eggshell is the base coat. Milky White is a light shade color. Baby Skin is a dark shade color. And Flesh Pink is the darkest skin tone color. Blush will be used for under the eyes and the highlights in her hair. Lipstick Red is for the hair's base coat. And Cardinal is for the shading in the hair. Orange will be used for the flame. And Golden Yellow will be used for the tips of the flame. Lastly, we have 3 multiliners to be used for touch-ups and fill-ins. The Copic Multiliner BS, which I believe stands for Brush Small, will be used for filling in the dress, headband, and shoes. The 0.1mm multiliner will be used for small touch-ups, and the 1mm will be used for the edges of the dress, shoes, and headband. Okay, I'm going to do a base coat of eggshell on the skin. Then I'll use Milky White for light shading. Then I'll do some darker shading with Baby Skin Pink. And to smooth out the shading near the nose, I'll go over it with Eggshell. I'm going back over to use Baby Skin Pink to shade the darker spots. Okay, now I'm going to use Flesh Pink around the eyes and places where I want the shading to be darkest. If your shading looks too sharp, you can go over with the lightest marker you use to blend it together somewhat. Alright, now it's time to use the Copic Colorless Blender to push the color back within the lines. So anywhere I went over the lines, I can use the Colorless Blender to push the color back into the lines. It can also be used to reduce the amount of color you want. I think I shaded a bit heavily, so I'm going to use the Colorless Blender to reduce the color in some areas. Before going heavy-handed with it though, make sure to fan your drawing so it dries and you can get the actual result. If you use too much of the Colorless Blender without fanning, you might end up reducing the color too much. Now for the hair. I already put down some blush in the highlighted parts of her hair. Then I'm going to use lipstick red to make a base coat, leaving some of the blush to show. Then I'll use the Colorless Blender to blend the blush with lipstick red. The Colorless Blender is great for blending colors, as the name says, but just keep in mind it's also stripping some of the color, so don't be too heavy-handed if you want the actual color. Then I'll use the Cardinal for shading. I think I went a bit nuts with the Cardinal, because Hime's hair is supposed to be light red with very little shading. But it's okay, I like it anyways. And it's not going to be a perfect replica since I have a different style, so it's okay if your Hime doesn't look exactly like the original Hime. It's your style of Hime, which makes awesome fan art. Alright, I'm gonna color some of the clothes. I'll put lipstick red on the collar, shoulder sleeves, and the hem of the dress, as well as the shoe tips and bottoms, and the flame on the shoe and dress. Then I'll use the Cool Gray No. 0 for shading the dress. I also used a bit of Colorless Blender to get rid of too much of the shading on the top. Now I'm going to fill in the shoe, dress, and headband with the BS Multiliner. Be sure not to go near the edge. We'll use the 1mm to fix the edges. You can make the Kunai gray, but I used the 1mm Multiliner to color it. For the eyes, I started with a base of blush, then shaded with lipstick red, and darkened the top with Cardinal. Now I'll use the 0.1mm Multiliner for fixing any mistakes I made. Now for the highlights. I'll be using the Copic Opaque White Pigment ink and an empty sketch marker with no ink inside. I drew a face on the back. Okay, if you haven't used the ink in a while or it's new, be sure to stir the ink so that it's uniform thickness. If you don't, the top will be water-like and the bottom will be thick like glue. I'll just use a craft stick for stirring. Now highlight any areas you like. I went a bit crazy, but this was my first time using it, so next time I won't go crazy with it. As crazy. Inside of Hime's eyes, I'm going to put a white spot in the center, so this can be our flame. Then once it dries up, use the golden yellow, then orange, and then cardinal to make the color of the flames. After that, you can add shines in the eyes, or catching the light as they like to call it. Now you have drawn and colored Hime. Of course, my Hime looks a bit different from the original since I drew Hime in my own style, and I went a bit nuts with the shading. You don't have to use the exact same Copics I used. There are a lot of different shades of the same color, so check out otakufuel.com's Copic order form to find color shades that best suit you. Thanks for watching, hope this has helped you, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Have you used this tutorial to draw Hime fan art? Be sure to send us your fan art, and we'd love to feature it in our weekly video. Check out our other videos, and don't forget to subscribe. To get all the latest news, follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Otakufuel! Meow.